Welcome to a special edition of the CJ and Joy podcast. We do a radio show Monday through Friday on Way FM, but we have personal lives outside of that. And so you're getting kind of a sneak peek into CJ's world today with a real and vulnerable story of something that he is figuring out about God and about vengeance. So we're going to let you go.
What does God say about retribution? I think that's what we were trying to figure out how to bottle this story. And I'm going to try and tell it really quickly. And then I'm just going to kind of analyze out loud with, what I'm feeling, which is kind of the reason I got to Way FM in the first place. And I want to be very vague about this because I don't want anyone specific to be embarrassed because these are industry people and colleagues and things like that.
I think that's kind.
Yes. So before I was here, I worked in a big major city, which I won't say here, and I worked on a morning show, and I guess I should back up really quickly. I had my own show in this city and was doing great, and I was swiftly promoted to co-host another show with a host that had been in place for a very long time, a very big deal host. This was a very big deal for me as well. And while all this was happening and my life got turned upside down, my wife was pregnant with our second baby.
It's so sweet to think about her being
I
born
know.
because she's 2 now.
Right. So chaotic life situation, right? Chaotic life situation. And things are about to get even crazier because we know the baby's going to be born within a month. And I get called into a meeting at this office and they say, hey, listen, we got a great idea. You are going to go on this other show with this guy. And this is what I was told. This guy had been in place forever.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I was told in this meeting. You are doing so awesome. We're going to put you on this show that's not doing great. And you are going to inject new life into this show. You're going to do your thing. And I'm like, of course, I'm just like stupid and flattered. Like I'm like, yeah.
But that's so much pressure. Did you feel it in the moment?
No, I was just excited. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Not really thinking at the time because my slot was more in the afternoon like it is now. And then they were like, we're going to put you on in the morning with this guy. And I didn't really know this guy that well.
Yeah. And we know from doing a show together that like your partner is important, the way you work together.
And if I'm being honest, I listened to his show and had listened to it before and didn't think it was very good. And so instead of me methodically thinking, how I could be a part of that, I basically was just dumb. And I was like, I accept. It sounds great.
I'll save everything.
But listen, the reason I didn't get nervous about this, and I'm going to try it, let me speed through this. The reason I didn't get nervous about this is because I know just how gracious I can be. And I know that I was like, if anybody can do this, I can. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to be gracious. I'm going to go in. I'm going to come up with ideas for this guy.
Figured you'd make everyone fall in love with you.
And I'm going to make him very happy that I'm here to help him. And it was a disaster. And it was mismanaged, and I could tell this story a lot longer, but the long story short, I found out in the long run that he went out of his way to make sure that I was going to be removed from that show. So I went from being promoted to being told, we're going to transfer you somewhere else. And
like a whole nother city?
Yeah, we'll find you something else in another market, which is like, okay.
You're settled, and you're becoming a dad for the second time.
Right.
And
so it's like, I'm not going to, what? Okay. And this was all happened really quickly. And from the story, I don't know. I've never connected with him after the fact, but what I know is that he was very much responsible for this happening. Mm-hmm. Right?
For getting you the boot, really.
And the show was terrible. And the human element in me was like, it's not my fault. It's his fault. Right? Because the show was terrible before I got there. But it's just a lot of complicated dynamics I don't want to go into.
But how did you feel when
terrible.
You had to
I mean, I
leave?
felt wronged. I felt, I've been promoted. I've been told this thing. Your life's going to change. We're going to put you in this big show, and this is going to happen. And to, okay, well, we get to move. We just had a new baby. I don't know what is going on. And all this happened inside of 3 months. All this. Life got turned upside down. So it was years leading up to this 3-month span where everything went wrong. And then I found out some other things that he did just industry-wise that went out of his way to basically slow my growth in the broadcasting field.
Oh, really had it out for you.
Agency stuff. And, here's what I compute at the end of the day, and I'm going to try and bring a human element to this, which is this guy who had been on this station and doing this show for 25 years. And he was not asked if he wanted someone new. He was told.
That's uncomfortable.
As was I. So I get that. At the same time, I'd like to think that human beings can be inherently good, and I just didn't think that he was very good to me in this situation.
Yeah,
that's that's firm enough picture, right?
Yeah, it's just frustrating. Like, I would have a lot of frustration leaving an issue like that.
Even talking about it right now. Now, ultimately, it turned out to be a blessing because that whole situation is what brought me here.
Led him to
me. You. And the show that we're doing now, which is the radio show, I truly believe I'm destined to be doing. But that said, after coming away, FM, I would say I'm just an overall healthier person spiritually, physically, mentally, and everything. Not too long ago, I found out that this guy that did me so wrong 2 years ago, it's about 2 years now, has been, his contract has been terminated and he's out, right?
Oh, wow. So he doesn't have a job now, kind of where he had left you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And the ickiest, most terrible feeling I think you can feel as a human being, and I'm being really honest right now, is when somehow, even if it's somebody who's done you wrong, somehow when something bad happens to somebody else, and that even makes you feel a little bit good. And that is the part that I've really struggled with because he did me. I could go on for an hour and tell you the whole thing. It was bad. He did me really wrong. And truth be told, I want to allow myself to be like, yeah, what goes around comes around. But Joy.
That's such a human emotion.
Yeah. And I know that's wrong. And so I won't allow myself to feel that. So every time I feel myself naturally going there, I'm trying to troubleshoot my way out of it. And I guess where this lands me is I started doing some research, biblically, like what it says to do when someone does you wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Which just kind of proves that you have God in you. Because in your selfishness, I think most people would be like, yeah, be excited that he lost his job. It's fine. But something inside of you said, no, that's not good. And even the fact that you're trying to seek out, well, if that's not good, how should I be responding? That just proves that there's something going on in you.
Mm-hmm. So, eye for an eye, wrong. When someone wrongs you, you're not supposed to wrong them.
People do use that all the time. And I'm pretty sure in the Bible, Jesus is like, people say eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth, but I say, and he changes it.
Yeah. So it's like, but here's the tricky part, right? So if somebody does you wrong, and I could quote scripture, but I just want to kind of get through this, but when somebody does you wrong, you can't do them wrong, right? Mm-hmm. But if you don't deal with it, what will happen is you could potentially do wrong to someone else inadvertently because you didn't deal with what was done to you.
That's what you found. Oh,
right.
That's like counseling stuff.
So how do you deal with it?
That's a bigger question, yeah.
I found out how you deal with it. The person who wrongs you, when they themselves get what's coming to them, the person who wrongs you, you're supposed to bless them. That's terrible, right? I don't want to do that. But when they wrong you...
I had like a physical response. It wasn't even me. I was like... Ooh.
Like Jesus, right? So it's like they wrong you, so you got to turn around and you got to say, I'm going to bless you. To expose all this ickiness for what it is, I think, efficiently, and goodness.
That is amazing, though.
So that this is the imperfect conclusion to this whole thing. is I'm spending my nights and days and my quiet times and just moments when I'm just kind of like thinking about how I'm going to bless this guy that I don't want to bless.
Maybe that's why it's taking him so long to come up with something.
Because we talked about this like a week ago, and we're like, we should do a podcast on this. And I was like, yeah, let's hurry up and do it because I want to go ahead and bless this guy and get it out of the way. So I've like...
Which is still the wrong motive. I'm just going to bless you so I can be done with it. But it just proves you're wrestling through this. This is the most like human, honest conversation because we all wrestle through the right thing, but it's like it's so against our nature to do what God says to do.
Yeah. So if you got any ideas, you should send them or maybe post them in the comments or something. But I don't like the feeling of resentment. I don't like the feeling I get when I hear somebody else lost their job. I don't like the way that makes me feel, even though he did me wrong. I don't like feeling it makes me feel icky. I want to get rid of it. I want to deal with it. So I'm going to bless this guy.
Yeah, that's kind of a challenge too, don't you think?
I'm going to recommend him for a job, or I'm going to call him, I think maybe, and I'm going to say, hey, man, if you just need someone to talk. I don't know. I'm going to do it.
I'm so proud of you right now.
Well, I haven't done it yet.
I know, but even like that you entertain those ideas, I feel like this is a challenge to you if you're listening, and even to me if there's someone that you are not in a good way about and that you've had a falling out or an issue. If CJ can do this, we can find a way to bless those people.
Well, what really spooked me is the idea that I could somewhere down the road inadvertently hurt someone else because I don't deal with this. That I'd rather get a tough conversation or a tough, blessing. So I'm hoping that through this, my heart will be shifted and that if this happens again, it'll be a lot easier. But if I'm honest, I really don't want to do it, but I'm going to, and I am going to do it the right way because I'm trying to do the best that I can with the person I am today.
And maybe you can check back in with us. I mean, depending on how you feel about it, we'd love to know how it goes, what you choose.
Send him like a box of chocolates or something. That's probably not. I think what I really have to do is make like actual human contact of some kind. I don't know what that means yet.
You're a good person. Yeah. I was going to be like, just pray for him and you good. Right. But that's not right.
So that's it. I'm still praying about this. I'm not, by the way, to all the folks out there who like know scripture better than me, please don't punch any holes. I've done the best I can to troubleshoot this on my own, okay? So I'm sure you know how that goes.
There are plenty of verses that support what you're saying.
It's the overall general picture, all right? So I'm just one person, all right?
Don't poke any holes in it because then he'll go, well, I guess I don't have to do it.
Just go back to making jokes, doing the show. All right, that's it. God bless. Thank you. If you've listened this long, thank you very much. We appreciate that, and we appreciate you listening to the CJ and Joy Show. Make sure you like this podcast. Make sure you rate us. And then in addition to that, it would be awesome if you reached out and told me what you thought about this situation. I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, you can always email us, cjandjoy@wayfm.com. That's cjandjoy@wayfm.com. And hey, share this podcast with the person you got beef with. Maybe it'll help start smoothing things over.